Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Daily Dizzle Weekend Update for January 15th and 16th, 2011. I'm Tommy Dizzlemits, as always. So, the Steelers, they just ended up edging out the Ravens. It definitely didn't look like it was going to happen all game. Definitely the first half was the Ravens' half. They scored 21 points. Meanwhile, the Steelers only had 7 on the board at that point. But there were some very funny things to go on during the game. Like, the first play of the game, the Steelers challenged, and it was great seeing the ref go over him talking with the coach. And you could read the ref's lips, and he was like, "Really? Like, you're really gonna do this?" And then the coach was like, "No, I know." You could I swear to God, go back, pull up the clips. You could just see the "really" and "I know." And at that point, I'm like, this is gonna be a hilarious game already. Then there was another play later on. Where Wilson was arguing with the official, being all like, no, he didn't do it. But the referee's like, no. Like, completely arguing it, no. This is why I love football, just the most random shit that happens like that. Or like Ryan Clark when he destroys his own teammate, in the first half. That definitely might have had something to do with the fact that the Steelers only had 1 touchdown, because the Steelers did not play like the Steelers during the first half of the game. So that is when I decided to enact my usual method for trying to get whatever team I'm picking that game to win. I took a nap. So when I came back from my nap, Steelers were on top, so it was a little bit better of a game. It was 24-21 at that point. Then the Ravens came back a little bit more, and we had a tied game going in the last couple minutes. Steelers ended up scoring a touchdown, which my girlfriend hated because she was not rooting for them. And then her team didn't score, so it was good, very good to see Flacco fail, pretty much. So at the very least, one call was made right this weekend from the Daily Dizzle's playoff predictions. We'll see if the other 3 games go the same way. We'll have coverage of all of those on Monday. Now we're going to jump right into the box office estimates that we've got for Friday. This was expected to be a stronger weekend. Unfortunately, the initial numbers are showing a little bit weaker. I mean, everyone didn't expect it to be huge numbers since there's not a movie like Avatar out like it was compared to last year. But still, movies from Seth Rogen and movies from Vince Vaughn and movies from Kevin James all usually have a consistent fan base, and it might be at the point where that fan base is drying out a little bit. So, for Friday leading into the weekend, Green Hornet was number 1 at the box office. It's the first time Seth Rogen has been on top since he was in Funny People, which didn't top the box office with too much energy compared to his past movies. This one might be another case of that, as the $11 million might seem like a good number, but when you add in the fact that it was aided by the 3D ticket premium, that means it performed at a little bit more of a minuscule level, under $10 million, with a $10 million opening is kind of a guaranteed success for a day. This, meanwhile, though, if you take with the inflation and the adjusting and it's not doing as great as they wanted it to. They expected it to make anywhere from 50 to 60 million over the 4-day weekend because Martin Luther King, as any other Monday holiday, is counted as an extra day for the box office, where the numbers are still huge compared to during the week. But now they're not really expecting it to go much more than 40, if that. So it'll be interesting to see how that one tracks out. Meanwhile, number 2, The Dilemma, made an okay amount, $6.1 million. But considering that Kevin James and Vince Vaughn have consistently opened to $30 million, shows that they're kind of dropping a little bit. But at the same time, you also have a comedy that's being marketed around the central premise of infidelity. So I'm sure there are a little bit more awesome matters to laugh at than one that probably has hit at least a quarter to 50% of the moviegoers. It's probably not something that someone wants to be reminded of at the movies, of something that probably happened to them. So even though it's not doing as epically as most Ron Howard produced movies do, it's still going to make a little bit of money. It should hit at least $20 million for the Martin Luther King holiday, maybe even more. Meanwhile, number 3, True Grit, still hanging in there. It made over $3 million for the day, so it should have around $9 million at the end of the weekend. And it's sitting at $118 million altogether. Number 4, The King's Speech, ended up doubling its theater count, and it's starting to show as it cracks the top 4 for real. Ended up making about $2.5 million for the day. It's sitting at $38 million right now. So with awards season now in full swing and that one really starting to build, it will be around for a little while. Speaking of awards season movies, Black Swan also expanded into significantly more theaters. The fact that it was just behind The King's Speech has nothing to do with its box office performance, because they've been out for about the same amount of time. King's Speech has actually been out a week longer, but Black Swan has about twice as much in the till. So even though Black Swan made about $2.4 million for the day yesterday, it's still sitting at $67 million altogether. So that one's not going to stop making money. It's one of those movies that, you know, as soon as it's broken the barrier of its budget after its first month, and that's when it's not even its biggest exposure, it keeps going for the rest of the season. Number 6, we had Little Fockers making just over $2 million for the day. It's sitting at just shy of $130 million. Number 7, The Fighter, just shy of $1.5 million on the day. It's sitting at over $62 million. Number 8, we had Tron Legacy, still keeping up with everything. Just under $1.4 million, but it has crossed $150 million, as we said the other day. So they're happy with whatever money it's making. Rounding out the top 10, we've got the 2 movies that opened last week. At number 9, we got Season of the Witch. It made just under $1.3 million on the day. It's sitting at $14 million altogether. Meanwhile, number 10, Country Strong, made an extra $1.1 million for Friday, so it's sitting at just shy of $11 million. So this is probably going to be the last day, as tomorrow the Green Hornet will make around $20 million. So at this point, though, you can still say Season of the Witch is the highest grossing movie of this year. Nicolas Cage, at this point, has the highest grossing movie of this year. Granted, not too impressive since only 1 week's worth of movies opened, and Season of the Witch has only made not even $15 million. But granted, Nicolas Cage, at this moment, has the #1 movie of the year. So, there's some food for thought for you. So that about does it for today's weekend update. We thank you guys for joining us as always. If you haven't seen everything or you need to catch up on some of the daily Dizzles that we've been doing, you can check out our YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/Dizzlemits, or you can just click the username. As we said, we've got the Daily Dizzle, which goes up every day, Monday through Friday. We've got the weekend updates. We also have some other original content on there. So plenty to keep you occupied if you haven't seen it before. So as we said, we do hope that you'll join us again on Monday to cover the weekend, the rest of the weekend going on between football and the box office, and we'll have some more new movie news as well. I'm Tommy Dizzlemits for the Daily Dizzle and the Weekend Update. We will see you later.